Good morning, my name is Manuel Quintero. Today's lesson plan is going to be on abdominal injuries with a detailed presentation of protruding organs. Part of the first aid, we have to protect ourselves with personal protective equipment, which will be gloves and safety glasses. Let's continue with the class.
To be training a format on chest injuries and abdominal injuries. I'm going to show you some scenarios on how to apply first aid in case of an emergency. Basically, it's going to be more of a first aid at work procedure. Now, one of the first things that we need to do, please pull out your books to page 61 of First Aid CPR, Chapter 11, Chest and Abdominal Injuries. Now, we're going to cover closed chest injuries, which was in the past called simple injuries, open chest wounds, compound wounds, where you actually may have a rib that has broken the skin. Right? We're going to have rib fractures, flail chest, and at the same time we're going to deal with, which I'm going to emphasize my first aid procedure in, abdominal injuries and open protruding injuries, which may include impaling. Now, one of the first things we know is that when it happens, we must keep our injured person. Could be a best friend, could be a co-worker. What do we want to keep that person, Ronald?
Want to keep them calm.
Want to keep them calm. Want to keep them from stop moving. Once we do that, according to the instructions, Jim, what else are we going to do at this moment? Once we keep them calm.
You got to stop the bleeding.
We want to stop the bleeding. If it's an impaled object, or a knife, or a rebar, anything from work, we want to do what? Vaughn?
Immobilize.
We want to immobilize. There are several ways of immobilizing, depending on what first aid kit we have or what material we have available. Right? Not all the time is our first aid kit going to be available to us immediately. So one of the first things that we need to remember is that we have to protect ourselves. Number one, PPE is going to be essential. Most of the times at work, of course, we're going to be wearing what?
Safety glasses.
Safety glasses, all right? Most job sites today deal with 100% safety glasses, day in and day out. Whether you're at work or not, you're going to be performing any duties, you're going to be wearing PPE. Now, let's say we have, since I'm going to deal with abdominal or chest injuries, first, I need an example, I need a volunteer, Jim. When I do that, if somebody strikes them, or you get hit by a piece of 2x4 or any material on the chest, what's going to happen if you get hit on the chest?
Probably double over.
Double over, probably hit the floor, correct? Now, one of the first things, please, let's say that you're hit on the floor.
All the way down?
All the way down, please. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to immobilize you or try to keep you calm from doing additional harm to yourself. One of the things, I may make you comfortable with whatever material I have available, and of course, relax. I'm going to ask, please, call 911, call 911. I have to make sure that I get 3 people involved so they don't get injured themselves. Right? I'll try to ask them, are you comfortable that way, or is there anything else I can do for you?
This will be fine.
That will be fine. One of the best positions when somebody is hurt, basically, is having that person in the fetal position. This way, that's going to be the most comfortable position, especially with the broken rib. When you get hit in the abdomen or the chest, the ribs, one of the things that you basically have a tendency of doing is curling up. Okay? Try to keep them calm. I hear an ambulance coming. I'm not going to start saying EMS or emergency medical services. I'm going to use something that he will understand to stay calm. So the medics are coming or ambulance is coming, and as soon as they're here, they'll be able to take care of it. Basically, one of the things, oh, we're done. So one of the things we want to emphasize is that we want to keep everything under control. We want to keep the person that's injured under control. We don't want him or her to get hurt any more than he actually already is. We don't want to do anything that's going to injure that person any more than he already is. Now, let's say we're at work and we encounter something a little more drastic. And all of us are prepared to deal with this, right? Because we say, yeah, we like blood, we see it in the movies all the time. It doesn't work that way. When it comes to first aid, there are certain things that are a lot more drastic than anything else, and not everybody is going to be able to handle it. One of the things is that, have you ever seen a set of guts spilled in front of you? So, it's not only the sight. You have to make sure that you emphasize that the smell is going to be horrible. The body, when it senses that it's injured, is going to try to protect itself. The person may relieve himself. So one of the things, if you come over to the side, please come and join me for a second. I'm going to show you exactly a possible scenario that may actually do a lot more damage. Now, we find one of our co-workers or cell inmate in front of us that we're now aware of what's going on. One of the first things that we want to do is that we want to make sure that they're breathing. Right? We want to make sure that everything's going on. So if we're first aid trained, of course, we want to make sure that we want to see that the person is able to realize that we can help them. If not, we're going to come in and first mistake is without checking the person, we're going to turn that person over. We see that he was stabbed, right? Now, what happens? We see the blood, and first mistake we're going to make is that we're going to remove, or try to remove the shirt, and what happens? Guts come out. Now, have you ever seen anything like that? Extremely gory. If you're not prepared for this, and it's actual blood, besides everything else that comes out of there, you know, we're not going to be ready for this. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is, we can't control the bleeding. We cannot try to stick everything back into it. Right? That's going to be our biggest mistake. So what are we going to do? Basically, we'll take any material, any blood. I'm going to ask, immediately as I'm going on, because everything is taking so quickly, it's going by so fast, I want to make sure that we get immediate response. Call 911 and come back, let me know what's going on. Call 911, you try to get 3 people to go because not everybody's going to go and come back. Some people may be frozen where they're not going to be able to move. So you try to get, at the same time, when you come back, please bring me the first aid kit with you. Ron, move, come on now. So when Ron comes back, the only thing, the first aid kit is not going to have much for me to work with. Very little, right? That's one of the biggest things. What may I do? I'm going to try to use whatever I have available, whatever possible I can use. If anything, the only way that I'm going to keep this person, if he's able to survive, is that I'm going to get a piece of material, even my t-shirt, wet it a little bit, and place that over the open wound to protect it from drying out. By then, hopefully, first aid, CPR, or the EMS, the ambulance will be here to take over. But if the person is still alive and talking, it's going to be difficult for you to even to keep a straight face or without breaking. That concludes my presentation. Anything else I can do for you? Questions from anybody?
Smells like yogurt.
He had yogurt for breakfast.
That's what I thought.
Now, here's the thing. One of the first things, because the intestines, right, are about 12 feet long, your central system from the mouth all the way up to the rectum is about 40 feet long. Your small intestine is about 12. Your large intestine is about 4. So everything is wrapped up. Can you imagine if that person was still alive and moving and crawling? He would have all that stuff dragging him back until he either bleeds to death or stops moving. So one of the first things, when it comes to first aid, one, you got to be prepared. You got to be trained. You got to be able to perform under that much stress. Two, the moment you got to do something that you've been training for at the time, and you cannot go above and beyond what you've been trained or what's in the training manual. Three, you got to make sure that you keep the person calm, you keep them up, and you get everybody else to get involved, including calling 911. Additional questions? Participation? Any help? They're in shock.
There it is. Thank you for seeing, guys.
My brother.